Hey, Dear Event Media here as well, Judge Evie Court. Be advised, we've been hearing a lot of rumblings. This is fair use commentary, and everything is in my own opinion. We have been hearing so many things about Project 2025. If it is passed, how we all will be affected by this change. If Donald Trump wins the White House, then we all are in trouble. I want you guys to understand that every single vote matters. Okay. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we did witness this. This should tell you a lot. People, our people will perish from a lack of knowledge. So, I got a few clips to help you understand exactly how things are going to roll. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. See, when we know better, we absolutely do better.
So Taraji P. Henson at the BET Awards told all the people in the audience and the millions of people watching to search up what Project 2025 was, and it was the number one most searched thing to the point where Google couldn't even keep track of how many people were searching it, and I was so shocked reading it, and I'm going to give you the top 3 things that literally had me too stunned to speak. So Project 2025 is what Donald Trump and the Republican Party are trying to push through, and it will literally change the way that our government works, and it's so insane, and let's go through it. Number 1 is abortions will be banned nationwide. Let me break down how crazy this is, okay? I am Christian and I am pro-choice. If at the age of 21 today I accidentally get pregnant, I'm keeping the baby. Even if I don't think I'm ready for it, I'm going to tighten up and be ready for it because that's what my religion tells me to do. Now, let me move this on to, let's say, 10-year-old Stacy. If 10-year-old Stacy gets and she gets pregnant, she literally has to keep that child under Project 2025, even though a predator did that to her. Even if her parents think that she's not ready to have a child, she will literally have to keep it. My whole thing is the Republican Party always strives that the government doesn't have too much power over the people. They're literally taking away women's reproductive rights. What will it be tomorrow for the rest of the American people? Speaking of too much power, Trump will have even more power than he already has as president. Now he'll be able to fully control the military and send the military against its own civilians. So if one day everyone decides to protest against Trump and Trump feels like it, he'll literally be able to send the military against those protesters. That's a dictatorship, literally. Don't even get me started on how many loopholes there are. Now, if he wants to make something law, he doesn't even have to go through Congress. He can just use the loopholes and sign it into law himself because he feels like it. And I'm not talking about the veto system. This is something completely separate. Number 3, you know how we have the FDA, the one that makes sure our food is safe, the CDC that makes sure that we're in good health, the Department of Transportation, Department of Education, and they all have their own laws, right? Forget that. They're getting rid of the Department of Education. And if you ask me why, because they don't want you to learn about racism and slavery and how we got to where we are today as Black people in America. They don't want you to learn about the gays and the theys. And if you're an ignorant Black person who doesn't think that this will affect you, let me as a Black person educate you on why it does. One day your kids will come home where there's no Department of Education and they'll ask you why you can't tell them exactly from Africa where you are from. And you're going to have to explain to them that your ancestors were snatched up from Africa, brought to America to be slaves, fought for 400 plus years to get those freedom and rights. And that's why you can't point out where from Africa you are from and explain to them about your culture. That's why it's important. Don't get it twisted. Trump is not for the girlies. He's not for the African Americans. He's not for the middle class, and he's not for the gays and the theys. And by no means am I saying that Joe Biden is better. I'm just saying you better educate yourself because if you're not a rich white man in America, this affects you. And shout out Taraji.
Do you know what Project 2025 is? If not, this isn't even, the mandate is 1,000 pages. I started reading it. I was actually going to go over it with y'all before they spoke about it at the BET Awards, but I love that they put that on a bigger platform because I literally have been seeing in the comments people had no idea this was even a thing because it wasn't being broadcast like that. And that's another reason why they be trying to get rid of TikTok, because I did not know about Project 2025 and the seriousness of it until TikTok. So let's have another learning lesson because that is what TikTok is vital for, learning lessons. Okay, come on. Do y'all see this? Take a second, pause it, read this list, because I know there's at least 10 things on this list that affect you directly. And you could say it don't. You could say it's not gonna happen. And there's so many idiots running around talking about, oh, we want him back in office, we're gonna get loans for our businesses, we're gonna get stimuluses. Y'all are goofy and you don't know what you're talking about. Y'all sound like you're very much so misinformed and uneducated, and you are very much so naive to think after seeing this man have MAGA supporters, It's been right in front of your face and you still choose to put the blinders on. That is the biggest form of ignorance. And I have been politically neutral, but I absolutely feel like I'm going to take a stand this year. Just because, like, how? He wants to promote and expedite capital punishment. Don't they already put enough of our people in slavery when they put them in jail? I have a brother serving a life sentence. Not saying he was the best person in the world, but he don't deserve to be in there for life right now. Use the military to break up domestic protests. Come on, y'all. Come on now. We've already seen how the police already are out of hand and already think that they're gods on some level. Because really, it's a god complex for them. They didn't have any control in their lives, so they feel like they need to get into some position of power or authority over someone else to try to control their lives. When at home, they probably getting beat with a wife beater by their wife. Okay? So I'm just saying, this can't be a thing. We cannot let this happen. Absolutely not.
Look, whether it's Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, or my dog as the Democratic presidential candidate this fall, what we need to be talking about is Project 2025, because this is what's going to happen if Trump wins another term. As a reminder, Project 2025 is an almost 900-page policy handbook for the second Trump administration, should there be one. It was spearheaded by the Heritage Foundation. The president of the Heritage Foundation recently said, "We are in the midst of a second American Revolution. It will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be." Here are some of the things that are part of Project 2025. Ending no-fault divorce, meaning you can't just divorce your spouse because you don't want to be married to them anymore. You have to have proof of wrongdoing. Completing the ban on abortion without exceptions, banning contraceptives, giving further tax breaks to people who don't need them, having higher taxes for the working class, eliminating unions and worker protections, raising the retirement age, cutting Social Security, cutting Medicare, ending the Affordable Care Act, raising prescription drug prices, eliminating the Department of Education, using public taxpayer money for private religious schools, teaching Christian religious beliefs in public schools, ending free and discounted school lunch programs, ending civil rights and DEI protections in government, banning African American and gender studies in all levels of education, banning books and curriculum about slavery, ending climate protections, which includes, by the way, pulling out of the Paris Climate Accords, which he did in his previous term, increasing Arctic drilling, deregulating big business in the oil industry, promoting and expediting capital punishment, ending marriage equality, which was foreshadowed in the Dobbs decision in 2022, condemning single mothers while promoting only traditional, quote unquote, traditional families, defunding the FBI and Homeland Security, using the military to break up domestic protests, mass deportation of immigrants and incarceration in camps, ending birthright citizenship, meaning that just because you were born in this country, you no longer are entitled to be a citizen of this country, banning Muslims from entering the country, eliminating federal agencies like the FDA, the EPA, NOAA, and more, which, if you've been following the Supreme Court rulings, you know is completely in line with the Chevron decision, which essentially transfers power away from these organizations, which are led by scientists and civil servants, to the court, which has no actual expertise on these topics. This is evidenced by Neil Gorsuch's opinion, in which he confused nitrogen oxides, which the EPA is trying to regulate, with nitrous oxide, which is a gas used to provide sedation. They will also continue to appoint right-wing justices to all levels of our legal system. And that's not even everything. That just starts to give you a sense of what's coming if Trump wins another term.
Now, I employ each and every one of you to be in the know. Project 2025 should absolutely be not implemented. We are going through enough. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. See, when we know better, we absolutely do better. Unfortunately, a lot of people will perish from a lack of knowledge. Will you vote? Say no to Project 2025. Blue. Keep the Department of Education for our children. Leave them food stamps alone. And that Medicare, we need those. Go vote. It's your girl, Dear Yvette Media, as well as Judge Evie Court. Shout out to all my replayers. These are things that absolutely matters. Thank you for watching. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. And please share. Get the word out. There's no better time than now. Let's go.